I've seen your work, your writing skills. It's phenomenal. It's mind blowing the things that you wrote, and I saw people just sharing your content and things that you say was like, wow, you're just top notch. So yeah, thank you for spreading your love and the connection with people and helping people. And yeah, that's what more people need to do more. Just be kind to each other and not just be hateful and angry because we are jealous. No, start with yourself. Is there something you still want to add on that?
Yeah, super grateful for you, Vincent, and honored to be on the show.
Welcome to the How to Heart Show, helping men reconnect to the heart and empower others as the leaders they were born to be. I'm Vincent Hazenboom. My mission is to help you speak your truth, own your authenticity, and step into your power. The world needs the raw and authentic man right now. Join us if you're ready to make a change.
Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome to the How to Heart Show. Ah, let me do that again. Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome to the How to Heart Show. Today, I want to talk about the masculine and the feminine dynamics because I see there's a lot of confusion, and I saw it really with myself that I spend my majority of my life in my feminine side, and I got really aware once my dating coach told me like, hey, you need to be more in your masculine. And I was really confused, like, how do I need to be more in my masculine? And it set me off a journey how to be in balance with my masculine and feminine. But this topic is so confusing for me still, and still difficult for me to understand, that I brought an expert. And I brought today Kevin Oroszos, and he's an expert about the masculine and feminine dynamics. And what's so cool about him is the posts that he writes. He really is go in depth with the post, what he talks about, and really bring the masculine and the feminine in balance. And that's what I really like about Kevin. He's such an amazing, cool, authentic guy. And I really wanted to have him on the show. So Kevin, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Great to be here with you.
Yeah, I really, really appreciate that you took the time to be here. So before we're going to start, I'd like to get to know you a little bit. And can you tell us in a nutshell who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so I've been coaching for about 8 years now, and a lot of my work is centered around masculine feminine dynamics. I've also taught yoga, breath work, bioenergetics, and yeah, my journey's taken me all over the US and the world. Very interested in polarity and masculine feminine biology and psychology and how mating and dating dynamics work. So a lot of my work is centered around that. But I also help people build their business, craft offers online, understand how to authentically market and sell on social media, and do enrollment in an integrous way. And I'm also deeply interested in financial markets and blockchain technology. So I do have a lot of irons in the fire, but a majority of my coaching career has been helping both business people and couples and singles really date, achieve maximum wellness and peak performance with their habits and routines, and also have the mindset of abundance and understanding that relationship is everything. Life happens in relationship, and mastering desire, sexuality, communication, your attachment style, your love languages, all these things are going to feed forward into business, into health, and into well-being. So
And the first question that came up to me, what what started your journey that you got interested in the masculine and the feminine? Because like I said, it's something that's a lot of confusion right now. There's a lot of confusion about the masculine and the feminine and the transgender and all of that. But was it started for you, the your journey with the masculine and the feminine?
yeah, I mean, for me, it started as with many people. I didn't really choose it. I was called to it, through pain and infidelity and cheating in my life really devastated me. I had, a lot of struggles dating and understanding, like, females and the feminine being, because I was just not taught. A lot of us didn't have fathers or uncles or masculine role models. So we're just kind of trying to figure it out with the hookup culture and with all the, negativity if you follow the mainstream. initially I was going to do a PhD in psychology. So I was applying to grad schools and had majored in psychology and philosophy in my bachelor's degree. And I had been studying in a lab all about social psychology and evolutionary psychology. So, like mating dynamics, how are we like chimpanzees and bonobos, and how do men select women for fertility, and how do women select men for provision, and all these things. It's very scientific and stale. I eventually decided that wasn't my path, but that's kind of where I first got really interested in it, going through all that research and working in laboratories. And later, in my journey, I found plant medicine, found martial arts, yoga, meditation, and breath work, and actually backpacked through Asia, Southeast Asia, India, Nepal, and just underwent a hero's journey to try to understand myself. But in that, journey, had amazing partners that I learned a lot from, and really started to actually study, more classical tantra, which is not just about sexuality, but it's actually about consciousness and understanding how to relate and interrelate with yourself and the consciousness of another. And the masculine feminine is kind of the pinnacle of that. And then I discovered the work of David Data, John Wineland. I worked with Elliot Hulse, and just went super deep into somatics and bioenergetics and the body, and understanding how trauma works, understanding how love and attachment and desire work, and then really started teaching workshops, teaching at festivals, giving talks, doing client immersions and retreats, all around polarity and masculine feminine communication.
Yeah, it's really cool. You have so much knowledge under your belt, and yeah, I really like to pick your brain a little bit about that. So, what is the masculine and the feminine? Can you explain what that means?
Yeah, so masculine and feminine are energies. So they're energetics. You can think about it like yin and yang, if you follow the Chinese model. The sun and moon channel and the Ayurvedic model, Ida and Pingala, they're just energies. It's very different than gender. There's a lot of confusion around gender. Biological sex is one thing, of course. Even non-binary and trans people, I've worked with them as clients. The masculine and feminine energetics still exist in their relationship. So it's just like a magnet. There's a positive and negative pole. You need both to play together. So that's kind of the simplest way to explain it. Masculine energy doesn't mean macho, hard ass, Hollywood hero. It means discipline, focus, single pointed vision, and kind of the hunter archetype or the warrior. There's many masculine archetypes, but in our world, business, conflict resolution, vision, creation, a lot of that can be governed by the masculine. The feminine is very different, but complementary. And they have more alike than they do have different, but their differences are very important. The feminine is even more creative because she's the mother energy, the creatrix. So females obviously literally give birth, but also the feminine energy is highly creative and yin. It's more receptive and magnetic. It's more feeling toned and intuitive. And so we all have both sides. Most men you meet will have a dominant masculine energy, and most women you meet will have a dominant feminine energy. Obviously, there are exceptions. Some people try to play it 50-50 and be completely balanced, which again is pretty rare and an exception in my experience. And basically, as it comes to dating, our world is very much conditioned for pure masculine energy and not necessarily integrated masculine energy. So it's like get a job, hustle, make money, have a family, work hard, retire, whatever. This is like the Western vision and dream, which we've also exported to the East. And, this doesn't work, especially for women. Men can thrive in that for a time. A lot of men do burn out without purpose and connection to their heart. And a lot of women are suffering in terms of dating or even raising a family because they're also at work in their masculine energy a lot of the time. And that just will burn them out in their nervous system. So unfortunately, in dating, the energies have been reversed in a lot of ways, where a lot of men have become passive or weakened through their habits or vices, or just not understanding how to lead and actually exert influence and be confident with women. And a lot of women have taken up the role of, getting a high body count, being casual sexual partners, or just focusing on career and not on relationship. And so a lot of women have kind of, the roles have reversed in a lot of ways. And this is unfortunately what I find with clients, is a lot of people are struggling, if they're single, to date and make a meaningful, committed relationship. And a lot of couples that are together or married are struggling to maintain desire and polarity in their relationship because things kind of turn into roommates.
Yeah, that's really crucial. And I saw it really with myself when I was so stuck in my feminine. I was pleasing everybody. I didn't take any action. I was really afraid. I was really not outgoing. I was really in my shell. But it was also because I'm introvert and really I like to be on myself. But it damaged me because I didn't have any relationship. I was so afraid to be my masculine, to talk to women, to go up to her and ask her out. I was so afraid to get hurt, or I would just kick on her leg and just she gonna reject me. And it was so painful for me every time I just didn't do it. So I see a lot of men struggling with the same principle like me, really in the feminine. So what do you think it's happening that that men are so pushed in the feminine and are afraid to walk up to women and talk to them?
Yeah, I mean, it ultimately comes down to confidence, which what is confidence based on? It's based on efficacy, like the ability that you can actually do what you're going to say and be effective. But it's even deeper than that. It's down to self-worth and respect, self-respect, and which is ultimately self-love. Am I worthy of love? And a lot of men struggle with this because they've based their entire worth around money or their ability to provide. A lot of other men base their self-worth around how many sexual partners or their sexual prowess, etc. And unfortunately, after World War II, so many men died and the culture changed and became very sedentary, domestic, urbanized, industrial. A lot of men were raised by their mother. And so they had a lot of the mother's influence, and the loss of rites of passage and initiation to take boys to men and have strong masculine role models has made a lot of men more in their passive, people pleasing, being the white knight, the good boy, the good guy. And unfortunately, women biologically are attracted to that to raise children and to have a safe partner, but they're not necessarily sexually attracted to that because they're actually looking for a man that's very strong in his vision, is confident, and they can surrender to. So a lot of women will avoid people pleasers or men that are, in their kind of collapse. And a lot of those men just need to reorient their priorities. So if they're not actually doing what they love, if they're working a job they hate, it's weakening them. If they don't have a vision for their life, they don't have a connection to their purpose, what God has given them. If they're interested in something or passionate or skilled, and they're not, giving energy to that, that can be a big detriment to their dating life as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, dating was so scary. I was so afraid of going into a relationship. And I see a lot of men, they're just, we're so attached to freedom that we think if we're going to go in a relationship, we don't have any freedom. So how do you see that for men that they still go out dating, but still be in charge of their life? Because we're going to please when we're in a relationship. We're going to please her so she's not going to leave us. Or we're going to do things, or we're going to remove friends so we're going to stay with her. Or we're going to do different things just for her. So how can we change that?
Yeah, it's basically you have to have an abundance mindset. So if you're a confident, powerful man who's connected to his heart, you will have a vast number of potential mates. Now you have to demonstrate that and actually get evidence for that for your ego and your mind to believe it, which isn't necessarily a bad thing as long as you stay, centered. But a lot of men will be in scarcity. So it's like, okay, I have the girlfriend. I asked her out. We started dating. I don't want to lose sex. I don't want to lose her love. So I'll do anything to keep it. And that's self-betrayal. So you'll weaken yourself, and both you'll feel bad because deep down it doesn't feel good to people please and cross your own boundaries. And also she'll become less attracted to you because you don't actually have a spine and a vision. So she will remove her interest and attention. And so it's a lose-lose situation. A lot of men, obviously you have to date to know what you like. You won't know what kind of women you like or men you like as a woman if you haven't dated and had experiences. So some of it can come from inexperience, is that you cling on to, which has certainly happened in my life. You cling on to the first relationship and think it's the be all end all, and you lose yourself. And when you lose yourself in a relationship, you become codependent, you become, anxious or avoidantly attached, you enter kind of toxic dynamics. And this is not a great place for health and longevity. And ultimately, that will lead to you repeating that pattern until you create the awareness around it of how it's affecting your life and choose something different. And this is where men's and women's circles will come in. If you don't have strong men around you that are modeling healthy masculinity and challenging you and supporting you, it's going to be tough. And likewise, as a woman with a women's circle, obviously having a mentor, a therapist, a coach, whatever you feel called to, can also be very helpful to have someone in your corner to call you out and call you up when you're not living up to the vision for your life.
Also, Kevin, the question that I had is also with the women. You see that their women are also like pushed in the masculinity. How damaging it is for women to be in the masculinity and for the men in the femininity, and they start a relationship.
I mean, the funny thing is it actually can work because the poles play together. So a man in more yin,
Okay.
feminine energy, a woman in her masculine will actually be compatible. The problem is if that's not their natural state and what they prefer, that's going to create issues because then when they try to switch, you have two masculine energies, two alphas butting heads. Or if both go feminine, there's no leadership or container. So it kind of dissolves. So a lot of men are exhibiting strong masculinity at work, crushing sales, creating organization, getting jobs done, work done, making money. But then in the relationship, they just want to collapse and relax, and the woman will lose interest. And similar for a lot of women, they go to work, make sales, crush it, make money, very masculine driven, which is great that women are, rising in the workplace. I think it's a good thing. I'm very meritocratic and egalitarian. I want women to be able to do whatever they want. The problem is then they bring that home. So they bring that on the date, they bring that to the kids and the husband, and they're not softening into their feminine, which is where most women, all the women I've ever worked with, I've never met a woman who doesn't want to be softened, loved, and surrendered in relationship and at home and in intimate time, not hardened and with armor like at work. So the transition between those and the dance, it requires practice. It requires consciousness. It won't happen automatically because the culture, unfortunately, mainstream culture, is extremely destructive to the family unit and to masculine and feminine polarity. It's not designed for it. There's nothing in Hollywood or the mainstream news that's going to tell you to be a strong man of integrity, loving a strong woman of integrity that are balanced in masculine and feminine. It's very much about more, hustle, consumerism, etc. And there's really not teachers of this. Celebrities are really poor role models. Our governments are obviously extremely poor role models. So you have to source it in your own village, in your own tribe.
Yeah, and it's really starting with yourself and also seeing the red flags, because we tend to stay in a toxic relationship, tend to go out and look for somebody else. And that was for me also, that's why I bring up the change in the masculine and feminine, because once I had a my ex-girlfriend, she was really in the masculine and I was in my feminine, and we just fighting each other constantly, and she was just taking the lead and I was just, no, I want to go this way, and she was like, no, I want to go this way, and I just let her be in her masculine, and it was just chaos, just frustrations and agony and pain in that. And I feel like there's a lot of miscommunication also with the roles of the masculine and the feminine in relationships. So that was really my question, why there was so much confusion, that why it's so hard for men to be in the masculine, in the raw, authentic masculine, and for women to be in their feminine and really be gentle and kind. Because you see that some women are really kind, but they have like this mask and they want to be tough just to not feel the pain. And I want to go a little bit deeper in there as well with trauma. What did you see with your clients or with men and women with trauma? Because we overlook that, right? The traumas that we're still carrying.
Yeah, I mean, Freud was right when he identified the mother and father wounds and imagos or patterns, because ultimately your mother as a man is the first woman well, it's the only woman that will ever unconditionally love you. This was something a colleague of mine was sharing from a session. Your mother is the only woman that will ever unconditionally love you. And a lot of men have to accept that and obviously honor your mother, but no woman will love you like your mother. And a lot of men are searching for a mom. So that's where the trauma comes from. They didn't receive enough attention, or they were smothered, or overbearing. They lost their boundaries with their mother. And so they'll play out that dynamic with women in their life until it's seen and consciously chosen to transform. And similar with women, their father is their first male role model and man that they are unconditionally loved by. And so they'll be considering and trying to find an image of their father to play out that trauma until it's made conscious. And this is where, attachment theory comes in. So you have like anxious attachment, avoidant, secure, insecure, disorganized. There's many ways that plays out. And also how you've learned to love. So all your past partners, and traumas from divorce or, infidelity or betrayal. These will all come up in the relationship. And so the goal for me with clients and in my own life, I've been blessed to be in a very beautiful relationship now, is to find compatible love and do the work, which means getting support, having a men and women circle, and consciously learning to communicate. Most of relationships are communication. 90% of communication is nonverbal, but what you say really matters and how you show up. So, but everyone has trauma. This is a traumatized planet. No one's free from that, but your trauma can become gold if you really dive into the source of it, own it, confront it, and alchemize it into your gifts. It actually will give you gifts and super senses and superpowers if you actually spend the time to go into them and alchemize them.
And how was it for you, the dating? Because also, what I understood, you were in the pickup industry as well.
I mean, I was never in the industry, but certainly in my own journey to try to figure things out, I studied, pickup artistry and these kind of characters in the red pill community. And,
Yeah.
with my background in evolutionary psychology and kind of the data of mainstream science, there is a lot of truth to it because men and women are driven biologically. Like we are biologically driven and there's no way around it. What is the goal? Well, it's to create offspring. So fertility markers and like understanding like what women want sexually and also in a relationship, what men want. There's a lot of truth in the pickup artist models. The problem is it's completely divorced from the heart. It's completely based on ego and the mind. And a lot of those communities, those men may be able to sleep with any woman and pick her up at a club or a bar, but they're empty and they're actually suffering. It's covering up their pain. So, I don't teach that to my clients. Dating, I do share strategies and tactics that are highly effective, but it all comes back to authenticity in the heart. If it's not connected there and it's not true to you and it's not attuned and there's not compassion for yourself and the partner, you'll never be successful in a relationship.
Why is it so hard? Because for me, it was really difficult to step into a relationship. A lot of fear, and also what you brought up now is for me also my trauma. I was just fleeing, I was just avoiding, I was just telling myself, no, not today, it's too dangerous, or no, she's probably busy, I'm not gonna talk to her. But why is it so difficult for men to step into a relationship or go talk with other women? Because for women, I feel like it's different. They have a rough time because they're mostly, but then they just talk with some friends and they just go out and then they're having fun. But for men, we just so attached to it. We give it so much meaning. So why is that so much different for men and women?
Yeah, men and women are driven by different things. Men fundamentally are driven by respect. They want to be respected by women and other men. And that's a lot of that comes from their work and purpose. Men also desire freedom, as you said. So a lot of men are trying to be free. So they want to be free by making a bunch of money or having a beautiful wife, whatever. Women are driven by love. They just want to be loved and desired. And they want attention. And this is sacred. There's nothing wrong with it. The challenge becomes, when men are putting the woman on a pedestal. So when you put a woman above your purpose, you're going to suffer and you're going to self-betray. And women can feel that. The challenge for women is to put their purpose over love. So if they are going all in on work and just hustling and, being a strong, independent woman, they may achieve career success. And I've worked with a lot of women that are very successful millionaires. But all they actually want and all they were trying to get was just love. And they actually just want a family and a loving partner. Not to say you can't have both, but you have to put the priorities in the correct order.
And how important is, like you said, I really love what you said, the connection with yourself, the authentic connection with your heart. Because that's the reason that I do the podcast, because I want to bring the people back through their heart, to their authentic self. So what can people do to go back to their authentic self and really listen to their heart, what is telling them? Because we're, like you said, we're gonna go outside of ourselves and look for that girl to sleep with just to feel good, or to have this quick fix just to feel good. So what is for you? What is in your journey, in your clients? What do you see like this is the right way for you to go back inwards and go connect with your heart?
Yeah, I mean, relationships are built by two individuals. And so self-knowledge, self-love is the core of it. If that's not there, you'll try to get it from the other and outsource it. That's how you create codependency. You have to have practice. So a lot of men their practice will be their job, their work. Their skills they build, their vision, their purpose will fill them up if it's true to them. So a lot of men are blessed to have that. Many others are struggling because they haven't found it, or they're working a job they hate. So as a man, self-knowledge is the practice of going deep inside and really loving yourself where you're at, and also understanding what drives you. So I use many paths to that, writing, fitness, martial arts, yoga, meditation, breath work. Nature is a big one. Men's work, men's circles, mentorship. You have to go in. For some, it's psychoanalysis, therapy, etc. You have to go deep and actually get in touch with yourself and invest in yourself, just like you invest in your body and your health. You have to invest in your psyche, your soul, your heart. And so without that self-knowledge, you'll always be chasing the carrot on the stick. And a lot of people enter relationship that way. And unfortunately, their heart cracks open through heartbreak or through love, and they come back to themselves, ideally. Some don't, and will have to go continuing to learn the lesson. The lesson will repeat through pain, often until it's learned and confronted. And so many times a bad relationship can be a beautiful redirection and a rejection that can actually send you on the right path.
I totally agree with that, because for me, I think it was, in 2019, I had to broke up in a toxic relationship, and in the beginning it hurt so much. I was so angry at her. I was so angry at myself. But then, like you said, I changed it. I changed the negative into the positive. Like, hey, what can I get out of it? What is the lesson that I've been given? What can I learn from it? And then I saw I need to take better care of myself. I need to learn to say no. I need to step up. I need to have vision. I need to have purpose. And if the red flags comes up, or I feel like something is off, because your gut feeling will tell you, hey, there is something wrong, this is not working, or we can talk about it, or whatever, you will know. But I wasn't listening. I wasn't listening. I wasn't looking at the red flags because I was trying to fill the void. I was so attached to her, and if I didn't get love from her, then I didn't feel loved. But for me, my journey was so hard to feel loved and feel the self-love, like, hey, I'm enough. And now doing this podcast, I really learned I'm good enough. I'm good enough as who I am. I don't have to change. But it took such a long time, and the journey was so difficult for me to get where I am today. So how was it for you, Kevin, for your journey from where you were, how you are today? Because like you said, you did a lot, and you have a lot of passion and purpose and vision and desire for the things that you do. So how was it in your journey? How was it in your life?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was very much, I was very into the hero's journey and the work of Joseph Campbell, and understanding the cyclical nature of trying to self-actualize, right? And understand who you really are, which is a lifelong journey. I'm still a baby in that respect and a student. But, for me, it was just finding what I was good at and what I loved, and going through trials. I thought it was academia, and then that didn't work. And then I worked an academic job, like more like corporate, and that was miserable. And then, for many years I traveled just as a nomad. I backpacked, through Asia and Central America and the US. And, that was very fulfilling. And I went all in and invested, hundreds of thousands of dollars in events and trainings and coaches and businesses. And, at the end of it, you just have yourself. And so I've come to, look at my life very much mytho-poetically and in a narrative of this journey of self-actualization. And, I'm a storyteller, I'm a bard and a speaker. Like, my gift is my voice and my communication, which is what makes me good as a coach with clients, and also, podcasting, speaking, creating content through my vision. And as long as I'm doing that, I can feel that worthiness. But, I still struggle, like everyone, with finding that and feeling loved and worthy as a man with my purpose. So it's very much just an ongoing process. What I found that really works for me is following your highest excitement, paying attention to synchronicity. There's no such thing as coincidence. The omens and the signs are all around you. And if you believe in God, or, a benevolent intelligence in the universe, it's always with you, and it always has your back. So very much for me is a connection to God and a connection to trust of life, I deeply trust life. I've seen life perform miracles for me and the people I love time and time again. So, a great philosopher, I'm forgetting the name, worrying is praying to the devil. So when you're worrying and you're doubting yourself, you're just giving the energy that could, you could be one phone call away or one, decision away from a huge breakthrough into wealth and health and love. But if you're just worrying and doubting yourself, you're betting against yourself. So ultimately, it does come down to just self-love and self-confidence.
And what can you give the listeners how to attain that? Because for me, it was really difficult when people told me, you just need to love yourself. I was like, how? How do I love myself? How do I do that? So, what is your advice that you can give people to start the journey of healing yourself and then to love yourself, fully love yourself?
I mean, the only way you can do it is you have to have compassion for yourself. So you have to accept yourself as you are, but then also be willing to change, which means doing
Yeah,
hard things. It means taking risks. Most men specifically just aren't taking enough risks, myself included.
yeah,
Now,
me too.
obviously, you have to take risks in a calculated way that follows alignment of your heart and your mind, but go for it. We have this life, and in many ways in my life, I've gone all in. There's still many other ways in my life that I have yet to go all in. So I'm working towards that. But, I'm grateful that I made some decisions that looking back were extremely scary, uncertain. Traveling is a big one. I would highly recommend everyone, men and women, to actually travel alone. Um,
Yeah,
it's a very formative experience. I would also highly recommend, just find a practice. Like, for me, meditation, breathwork, and writing have been huge practices, and also freestyle and poetry, using my voice. Finding a practice to cultivate. And it doesn't have to be your work. You can do it on the side, but that's going to build up your confidence. Because on the mental level, men are very much mental. We're ruled by logos. You have to demonstrate it. So if you just believe that you're the shit and you're a badass, but you have no evidence, that's just a story you're telling yourself. You have to demonstrate it by taking risks, taking action, and getting feedback and data from other people in the world, especially other men. So you have to continually be doing that. And this is why training is so important for men, physically, mentally, spiritually. You need to be training and practicing, because that's what's going to sharpen your blade and hone you. And there's really no way around that. That's just the lot of being a man in this life. Women have a very different journey. Women will bear children and be mothers. Women have a journey of self-love as well that looks very different. But all humans have to go on that path.
yeah, and that's really important that I saw with myself. I've been afraid my entire life, and there was a moment in my life from my higher self that I need to make the change, and it was so difficult because I was so used to the fear-based lifestyle, and I was, like you said, I was so afraid to make the change. I didn't want to change. I want to stay comfortable. I want to stay behind my computer playing video games because it's safe. But on the other side, I was missing so much out. I wasn't having any dates. I wasn't have any connection with people. I wasn't living my life, but just hiding. And you really see that there's so many men out there just hiding, and they just tell themselves like, "No, I'm fine. I'm good. I'm okay." But deep inside, there's so much pain because they would desire more. They desire more out of life, but they're so afraid to go out for it, to take the masculinity, to take masculine action. And that was really difficult. The question that I want to ask you is, Kevin, purpose. How important is it for men to have purpose? Because you see men lacking purpose, and you have to have purpose. Because I saw for myself, I didn't have any purpose. I didn't know what I was doing here on this planet. I was just clueless. But once I found my purpose with this podcast and helping men and other things that I'm doing, I felt like connected. I felt finally on the right track. I felt I'm doing something good for other people, for myself. What can you tell the men that are searching for their purpose? What are the action steps that they can take to look for what they desire and what they really like to do?
Yeah, I mean, everyone has a purpose, and it doesn't have to be grandiose. Your purpose could be to be a father, it could be to be a gardener, a builder, a carpenter. It can be very simple, but you have it, and you came into this life with specific gifts. Everyone has them, every single human on earth. Your goal is just to find it. And if you don't know your purpose is to find your purpose. It's very simple. That's just take the next step. Trust that the next step is there on the staircase. You don't need to see the full path. The path I like, which is Japanese, which is very beautiful, I use with clients, is called Ikigai, which means reason for being. And it's basically a 4-part Venn diagram, which is what you're really good at, what the world needs, what you love, and what you can get paid for. And you want to find that center point. So if you answer those questions and get really honest with yourself, you'll find what that looks like. Now, for many people, your purpose may not be your career, and that's okay. I know a lot of people that work corporate jobs or work a job that, they like, they don't love it, but it supports them, but they're actually an artist. They're a musician, they're a sculptor, they're a painter, they're going all in on that, etc. They're a writer, whatever. So ideally, your purpose and career are aligned, and you can get well paid and become abundant through sharing your ultimate gifts. That's the highest pinnacle, but not everyone's called to that, and that's okay. So many people's purpose will just be to be a mother or father. Their purpose will be to be a loving community member, an uncle, an aunt, whatever it is. But you do have to go all in on it. If you ignore your purpose, you'll be challenged, and it'll constantly be calling to you, and you'll always find your way back to it. That's what I really believe. I've seen in my own life. You can go off the path, take a little side quest like a video game, and go on a little side adventure and get distracted, but you'll always come back to the main quest.
Yeah, and that's so important. That changes everything. Once you have like a line to follow or where you want to go, it makes life so much easier for me. But finally I know what to do, because if not, you're gonna look for things outside of yourself, but you're gonna look for distractions because you don't know what to do. So you're gonna watch Netflix, or you're gonna play video games, and that's fine if you just find that good for you. But I know something inside of you is telling you need to make a change. You need to do something about it. So thank you so much for sharing, Kevin. And I have a really funny question, and it is, you hear so many men say, I don't understand women. I don't know what's wrong. And why is that? Because I think there's a lot of confusion about how women operate, because men are logical and women are emotional, and they think when they are logical to women, they understand it, but women operate from a different kind. And for me, I still need to understand it myself. But can you explain it, what it is with the men and women dynamics, with the logical and the emotional?
Yeah, I call them logos and eros. That's the beautiful dance. That's why they're so attracted to each other, is because they're complementary but very different. They're not oppositional, but they are vastly different and complementary perfectly. Yeah, you'll never understand the feminine being through the mind. It can only be understood through the heart. And women are always changing. Their nature is change, chaos, and the extreme. The emotional waves of women and their bodies are constantly changing. So the reason men say they don't understand women is because they try and understand them as if they're men. Men are quite easy to understand if you understand what drives them. But what drives women is just love. So you don't need to figure it out. It's not a problem to be solved. Women just want to be loved. So once you understand that and you can surrender, you kind of release the need to understand women. It's the classic trope of like, what do women want? Women don't even know what they want. So stop trying to figure out what they want. Just love them.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's, for me, it was also the same. Like, I wanted to understand them, I want to learn about them, but you just need to go with it. Like you said, it's the dance. You need to go in the flow, and I'm still have to learn that as well, because now I healed myself slowly, and now I want to go back into the dating, but it's like difficult, and still looking it from the side if it's safe. But like you said, I just need to do it, and that's what I've learned. And also, there's one book that really changed my life, is that feel the fear and do it anyway. It just clicked. It's like, I need to do it. There's no other way. You will feel the fear, but you have to do it for you. Like you said, you feel it, and then you understand it, and then it's like, oh, it's not so bad. So what is it also for you, Kevin, that you are afraid of and that you are still trying to do?
Yeah, for me, the fear is around, really stepping into power and like owning my big visions. I've achieved a lot, and I'm very blessed and grateful for how far I've come in my business and my relationship. But there's still big hurdles on the horizon. Having a family, securing my financial future, generating generational wealth. These are the challenges I've been facing. And, for me, it's about getting organized and disciplined. My finances and my money, and also surrounding myself with community. So, really building strong bonds with the men that I love, and forming very close knit community, and setting up the future for my children and my children's children. So, that's really where the fear is like, fear of failure, fear of not doing it right, things like that. So that's what I'm contending with.
Yeah, I think everybody has that. For me, it was the same. Feel of failure. Am I doing this right? Not making mistakes, but it was for me really to, yeah, to be safe. Just not seeing my true value, what I'm really capable of. But like you said, you just need to do it, and it will come. But it's a journey, and the thing is also what I've seen is the journey can be really beautiful, but we just have to give it a chance. We can always be blaming ourselves. Why didn't I do this? Why didn't I take action? But you can also take a step back, like, hey, what did I do right? What are the changes that I make, and what can I do tomorrow? So that's also, yeah, important for us to also take a step back. So Kevin, the things that I want to ask is for sex. And I think for a lot of men, it's a drive to have as much body counts as we have and can. But what is the difference between having like connection with somebody and have sex and just lust, and the tantra sex? Because it's also for me, I'm curious about that. So can you explain those three sides with lust and the connection sex and with tantra sex?
I mean, there's nothing wrong with either inherently. We're all biological beings, so we're driven very strongly by our sex drive, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It only becomes a problem when you base your identity on it and you use it to cope, or to becomes an addiction. So a lot of men do struggle with just lust, because of porn and social media and just women everywhere showing them, their beauty. They get trapped by that and just chase, 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 and go outside themselves and actually weaken themselves ultimately. A lot of men will struggle with just sleeping with as many women as possible to feel powerful, but they don't feel powerful. They want others to see them as powerful, but they actually feel very empty because it's not connected. And sex is very sacred. It's a creative force. When you use it without consciousness, you can create things you don't want and suffer. So that's what tantra is about, is just bringing consciousness into that. So, sex can become a meditation. It can become a prayer. It can become sacred when you bring your awareness to it. That's all it basically is just bringing your full awareness and consciousness into the bedroom. And, there's plenty of techniques and strategies and all this, and that's great, learn them. But it's really just when you actually are intimate with someone you deeply trust and love, that is the most healing force on the planet. And that's the most beautiful connection you can have with another human. And that will create the most beautiful children and families as well. And so that's where a lot of our trauma is kind of built up over the generations, is generations of humans that were doing the best they could, but were coming from lust or from the unconscious or not connected, and just having children and going through it anyway, and has created the situation we're in present day. And so all that takes is a choice to go the other way.
Yeah, that was for me the same. I was really looking outside of myself. If I sleep with enough girls, I will feel enough. I will feel good. I have enough to feel good about. But still, it was an emptiness because I was running towards porn and not actually meeting women. And it was so difficult because I wanted it so bad. I was only what I was thinking about it every single day. Just how can I sleep with women? How can I get them into bed? And that's also for me my journey with the pickup artist. I thought that was the right thing to do. I thought that is how I can get women to like me and to sleep with them. But then I learned there's so much different ways, and also what you do that I really like is really from your authentic self, and attract women from that, and not from ego mindset or from loss, or I need to have this big bank account for women to like me or to love me. You just stay grounded and be yourself and do the things that you love. And that's one to make the curve to leadership, because men, we are natural leaders, right?
Yeah, I
So
mean,
the
leading is like the biological imperative. You know, men will lead other men into battle, into commerce, into exploration, you know, whatever. But also they lead the relationship, and women lead differently.
exactly.
They also are leading from emotion and sensitivity and intuition. But yeah, if you're not leading yourself as a man, there's no way you could date and lead a woman, and she'll feel that instantly.
And that's so important for women, right? To be led by a man, so the man take charge of what he's gonna do. So he said, "Let's go for a walk today," and it's up to her, like, "Hey, I don't have to make decisions," because women, they don't want to be in her masculine, right? She wants to be in the feminine. She wants to be receiving the masculinity. That's so important for women, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's what they crave, and we crave the feminine to receive us. So it's a beautiful dance when both are playing their role. That's when you really feel the alignment and the love just flowing freely instead of being a conflict.
Yeah, that's for me was really difficult to step into my power and to take the lead of my life, but also for my future dates and women that I'm gonna meet, to take the lead. Say like, hey, I want to take you out on a date, or hey, I want to take your number because I'm gonna go into my nice guy. Like, hey, is it okay that I can take your number? Or hey, is it okay that I can take you on a date? That's not masculine. And she, like you said, she will feel it, and she just like, nah, she knows for her offspring it's not gonna work, because if you're not handling yourself with her, she knows you're not gonna handle yourself in life. So that's why she rejects you, and not because you're a bad guy, but it's her biological state, right? So women operate from that.
Yeah, 100%. And that's ultimately what women are constantly doing. You know, you can call it shit testing or like assessing if this is a good mate and potential partner and father. So they're constantly, even unconsciously, most women are not thinking about this
Yeah.
consciously, but that's what's driving their mate selection. And so you have to understand that as a man. And likewise, as a man, you're constantly selecting for a good partner and mother and wife, and a partner that can be surrendered and loving and supportive. And that's what men are selecting for. So a lot of single women out there, especially here in the States, you know, they're struggling to find partners dating, and they're being single for long periods of time. Some are going celibate, and their path and their work is often learning how to surrender to a man's leadership, which obviously has to be earned. There has to be real trust and integrity there for that to occur. But you know, that's a practice, and you have to let down your guard and your walls and do your healing to get there.
Yeah, that's for me was so important. Just start the healing journey and let down my guard, and not build a wall around myself so I don't get hurt. And I feel like there's a lot of guys out there, they build a wall so they don't get hurt, but that's life. You need to take risk. You need to take those fearful steps for you to make the change and get what you want, or it's not gonna happen and you will regret it. I felt, well, now I deal with it better, but in the past I was so angry. Why didn't I do it? Why didn't I talk to her? But it's so easy to just walk up to her and say like, hey, my name is this, or hey, that I just want to have a talk with you. But we're so focused on the outcome. We're so driven on get something from her. We can just have a conversation with her. So Kevin, I want to talk a little bit more about what you see with your clients, because I think that's also a good way for us to talk about what is the most important, what you see in your clients, and what are you driven for to make the change. You mentioned already that you want to, like me, also from the heart, that people can operate from the heart. But what is the most difficult that you saw with people going through with your clients?
Yeah, for most men I work with, they're struggling with money. You know, a joke I had with my other support coaches in some of my programs a few years ago was, you know, men have money problems, women have relationship problems. So a lot of men are waiting to, you know, find their purpose or career, or, you know, really get their vision dialed in to date and be ready. That's not true. You don't have to do that. But a lot of men feel as if they do, including myself in the past. So that's often the struggle with men is training, getting strong, building your vision, building your financial future. And entrepreneurs obviously are unique. They're a strong path that's very difficult often. And I do work with a lot of them, but I also work with men that are working normal jobs. And, for them, it's really about building integrity, building strength, discipline, and commitment, and finding men to support them, getting a men's circle, getting allies. Women, obviously, I work with as well. And very often they're struggling with being received in a relationship and actually communicating their desires, asking for what they want, stopping their people pleasing. So a lot of women will people please in relationships and kind of collapse and, get walked all over, and then they don't feel happy. But a lot of the women I work with are single and are trying to date. And so they have to relearn some of their bad habits about judging men, blocking men, disrespecting men, emasculating men, and actually practice dating from a place of courtship and choosing and deeply intentionally going on dates and overcoming their masculine conditioning and actually returning to their femininity and their heart. And so those are the major themes I see. Obviously, I do work with women that are entrepreneurs that are building their business as well. And I also work with single men who are just focused on dating. So it's very much client by client.
So there's a lot of difference in the people itself. So for one man can be dating, for one man can be money, for one man can be trauma. It can be all different kinds of people.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think I have some couple more questions, but I think we're gonna close to the end of the interview. But just to bring things back, what can you give to the listeners for them to make a change? Where do you see with your own journey with your clients, like, hey, this is a good way for you to start to make a change in your life? Where do you begin? Because like you also mentioned, there's confusion. We don't know what to do. We don't know where we start, because if we're gonna do this and this and this, there's gonna be confusion. It's gonna be too much. We're gonna overload. We're gonna shut down, and we're not gonna do it. So, what advice can you give to the listeners where to start, and also your best 5 tips or 3 to 5 tips, what people can do to actually make a change in their life and really to start living from the heart? It can be anything. I think the most people will want to know about relationship, because that's really important for men and women. So what would you suggest?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like you'd want to drive your car somewhere. So you grab your phone and you put in the GPS, like, okay, where am I? Where's my destination? And then it'll plan a route. Same thing in your life. First step is identifying where you are. So you can only start from where you're at. So your first step is just get very honest. Where am I? What's my financial, emotional, physical, spiritual health situation look like? And just get really honest with that. And then get connected to, what do I want? What is my highest excitement? What do I desire most right now? A boyfriend, a girlfriend, a family, a job, whatever. And then you can start to take the step. But just take the first step. Don't worry about, well, I don't know if it's going to work. There's so much. It's like, just relax. Get in the river and swim. The river has a current. So you need to find the current and float with it. But you also need to swim. Some people are swimming upstream. Some people are just floating and just letting it carry them. And both are not great plans. So that's kind of the first step. Second step is, if you do have a big vision, and you know if you have a big vision because you'll think about it all the time, write it down. So you need to start writing. Get it in front of you. Write it on paper and have it, or your computer, and have it concretized. And then work with it. What's the next step? What do I want? Where am I going? And get really clear on 3 questions. One of my mentors gave this to me. Who am I? The ultimate question. That one's going to take your whole life. Where am I going? You can figure that out in the short term. Where am I going? And then who's coming with me? Those are the 3 major questions you have to answer and move forward with as a man or woman. Now, in terms of relationship, the best practice I always do with relationship clients is writing 2 letters. One is a letter of forgiveness to your mother, your father, your past partners, all the pain, and just forgiving them. Writing out everything, your hatred, your resentment, your bitterness, frustration, but also the love, compassion, and forgiveness. And burn that letter or bury it, get rid of it, and just let the past go. So you need to have that ritual for yourself. And that might be an ongoing thing. It may not just work one time. And then you need to write a letter to your future beloved or your future vision of business if you're on the business path, or art. And really write down a letter of love and longing as if it's already here and you can feel it, of what you want and what you're moving towards. And keep that and move towards it and review it and return to it and keep writing. Again, that's going to take time and repetition. It won't just happen one time. And once you've done that, you'll have more of a North Star. So once you've identified your North Star, just take one step towards it. 30 minutes a day, 1 hour per day. Just take a step towards it. Think about it, meditate on it, write about it, make a phone call, write an email, move towards it, do research, take a step. And then if you just do that for a year, you'll be a completely different person. Obviously, there'll be big choice points where you have to take risks. You actually have to take a leap of faith. You have to jump into the abyss and trust that the feather bed will catch you. And it always will. It may not happen the way you want. It'll almost never happen the way you want, because man plans and God laughs, but you'll have taken a step forward and you'll feel more confident, which will make you more effective at seeing the vision, which will make you more effective at taking the next risk, and you'll enter the upward spiral. So that's kind of the basic, most effective tips I can give on a very practical level. Get in sunlight every day, put your bare feet on the earth every day, find a practice, dancing, painting, meditating, grounding, running, jujitsu, whatever. Just find one practice and go all in, and surround yourself with men and women you trust. If you're a man, find a men's circle. 3 men can be a men's circle. If you're a woman, do the same. You have to have community and tribe around you. Who's coming with you is actually the most important if you're confused right now. So focus on that first.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. It's for me, it's always a good reminder, like, hey, I need to have vision. I need to know where to go, but also take care of myself. I can work my ass off, but if I don't take care of myself, I cannot work. So you also need to have me time, also take care of yourself. So I think it's also important for the men and women also take time for yourself. If you have a family, go into nature alone. Just take some time for yourself. Just unplug and just breathe and do what Kevin mentioned, or find something that you really like to do. Take some time for yourself. That's really key also for your own wealth and health and well-being. So Kevin, I have one more question, or two actually. One is, what can people do when they're in a toxic relationship? Because that's what you see nowadays, that people are staying in a toxic relationship, or in a relationship that's not working. What can people do to fix it or to get out of it? What is the advice that you can give? Because once I was in a toxic relationship, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know if I need to stay, I need to go, but my gut feeling was like, get out now, you need to go. But I care so much about her and I really want her to change, but I cannot change her. And I think that's what I was doing, and what men trying to do is to fix her. They want to fix her so they can make the relationship successful, but we cannot change her. We have to start make the change with ourselves. So what advice can you give?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, you have to trust your gut, trust your heart. You'll know immediately. As soon as even if you're asking this question or listening, you already know if it's a yes or no.
Yeah.
And so you have to get honest with that. If it's no and leave, you need to take the steps and be courageous. If it's yes, but it's not working, you need to get support. So you need to work with a counselor, a therapist, a coach. You need to go to events. But ideally, you want to do that alone and with your partner, not just one or the other, because you can't change them. And if you're trying to change them, that's probably creating the toxic dynamic. Focus on changing yourself and trust that they'll do the same. If it's meant to be, they'll be with you. If it's not, you'll move on. But the longer you wait to take action, the worse it's going to get. So take action and trust your gut, because your gut's right.
Absolutely. That's really, really important. Listen to it. Don't ignore it. Don't put it on the side. Listen to it, because it will tell you. You will feel it right away if this person is right for you or not. And you will not feel it maybe in the first couple of weeks or months, because then you have the nice pink glasses on. But eventually you will feel something. You will feel the change, or something is off. You really need to listen and act on it. It's so important. This is what I like about what you said about the compass. About the compass, listen to it. It will guide you what you need to do. It will guide you to the right places. And if it doesn't feel right, get out. just don't take it personal or serious that you're gonna hurt this person, because you need to take care of yourself, or you're gonna be staying in a relationship that you don't want to be in, like I did, and it's gonna bring you only pain. And it's also not fair for her, because she also can learn. She also now do her own life, her own things. That's the blessing. If it didn't happen, I didn't learn from it. I learned from the toxic relationship. I learned from it, so I can now know for my next relationship what to do. But also, I found my purpose. I healed myself. I learn new things. So that's what I like about you, and what you said is, it can be blessing. You can see those small blessings that you were given to you, like what are you gonna do with it? And that's really important for you to really trust yourself and your heart, what is telling you. I cannot say this enough. Trust your heart and your feelings and your gut feeling. It will tell you everything that you need to know. That's what I like what people say. Everything that you need is inside of you, right? It's we are so beautiful creatures that we know is something right or not. We know what we have to do. So that's what I want to share. And the last thing, Kevin, I like to ask this question to my guests. What are you most proud of? What is Kevin most proud of in his life?
Yeah, I mean, in this moment, the answer would be I'm very proud of the way I've navigated my life and the vision that I've prayed for and seen and has come to fruition. And I'm very grateful for that. And I'm also grateful for what's to come, because it's only going to get better from here.
And that's it, right? You need to have trust and faith in knowing that everything is gonna be okay, and knowing and trusting in yourself that you're gonna do the things as best that you can. Don't push yourself too hard. Don't blame yourself. Don't numb yourself because you think you're not enough. Just be kind and gentle, and take good care of yourself, because the best relationship you're gonna have is eventually with yourself. That is that's the truth. You're gonna When you're born, you're gonna have a relationship with yourself, and when you die, you're gonna have a relationship with yourself. So that's the best relationship that you need to have with yourself. I really want to thank you so much for your time. Your vibe is absolutely amazing. I just the calmness and what are yeah expressing, it's absolutely amazing, and you're an absolutely amazing guy. Also, I've seen your work, your writing skills. It's phenomenal. It's mind blowing, the things that you wrote, and I saw people just sharing your content and things that you say was like, wow, you're just top notch. So yeah, thank you for spreading your love and the connection with people and helping people. And yeah, that's what more people need to do more. Just be kind to each other and not just be hateful and angry because we are jealous. No, start with yourself. Is there something you still want to add on that?
Yeah, super grateful for you, Vincent. And yeah, honored to be on the show. And yeah, I mean, I'm just a man working on myself and doing the best I can, and hoping that everyone else is on board for that vision for humanity's future, where there's more than enough to go around. Everyone is in their heart and living in their dharma, like what is theirs to do, their kuleana, their reason for being, their ikigai. And that's the world we're all building and we want to see. And I think we're closer now than ever to that. Obviously, dark trials lay ahead, but I am bullish on humanity.
Yeah, what I like to add is stay true to yourself. Stay true to yourself. Love yourself. Take care of yourself, and believe in yourself that you can do it, that you can make a change in your life. You don't have to expect from other people to help you and fix your life. You need to take charge and do it yourself, because that's what we have to do. I feel like that's what we have to do as people, to go back to ourselves, to go back to the source and do what's important to you and not what other people want from you. So Kevin, really from the heart, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I really enjoyed the talk. You gave us so much value. You gave us so much knowledge, love, respect, and kindness. And I cannot thank you enough. And thank you so much. So, how can they follow you? And please, people, listeners, lines, check out Kevin's work, because he has some really powerful stuff. And yeah, also an amazing book that I need to go into. And I'm looking forward to read that one. So, Kevin, can you share what your social media and website and everything that you want to share. Also, yeah, I wanted to ask you, it came to me, you also have a free gift for the listeners.
Yeah, I have an amazing masterclass that kind of breaks down the basics of polarity 101 in terms of dating as a single person or in a relationship, how to cultivate it. So, highly recommend going through that, taking notes, and taking some of the practices into your own life. And yeah, you can find me online on all social media: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all the places, LinkedIn, TikTok. It's my name, Kevin Orosz, Orosz, is the last name. Instagram is probably the best place to go, which is at Kevin J. Orosz. And my website is my name, kevinorosz.com. So you can find tons of stuff there, free resources, tons of free masterclass recordings and posts all about what we've talked about today. I also have a newsletter on Substack, kevinorosz.substack.com. So that's a great place to sign up for free, get access to a ton of recordings from webinars and classes, and also just stay up to date with retreats and events. I'm doing a retreat later this year in America for singles and couples, partnering with another brand. It's going to be in the fall. And yeah, I'm working on a program right now with clients. I have 4, and there's still 4 slots open, called Rebirth, which is just a 1-month accelerator for those that are wanting to launch their business, their art, their company, and really nail it by dialing in your offer and giving your gift to the world and getting well paid for it.
Yeah, pay to exist. Just share your gift, and yeah, you will have a nice life when people supporting you, and you can support them. That's also what I like about with the system that we live in now, with this slave system, is we work for somebody else and we make them rich, and we're gonna get paid little for it. But for example, for me, if I need an editor, I pay him for his skills, or her. I pay them for for the services. But they are so connected. They love what they do. It's different because they give me the love back. It's not just the money exchange for the product or the service. It's really the love that I give to him or her, and I give it back. And that's what I really like. I don't hire them for the money. I hire them for the gift. And that's what I feel we need to do more. Hire people for their gifts and not for making somebody else rich. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share. So Gavin, again, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your journey and everything that you have been through. And yeah, guys, please follow Kevin. Check out his work, his stuff, also his writing skills. Again, it's absolutely amazing. So do that. And yeah, Kevin, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, brother. Really grateful.
Hey Lions, thank you for listening. Glad to have you on our journey to the authentic self. Want to learn more to embrace your potential? I invite you to keep listening. Do me a favor and smash the like and subscribe buttons, as this helps the show reach more listeners who need to hear these messages. See you next time.